Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are when you see this video. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. It's November 17th, 2025. I have a very interesting video for you today. It's regarding the AI data centers. I've already talked about the spiritual dangers with AI chatbots, ChatGPT, that kind of thing. But I'm going to be talking about the data centers today and its strain on our water, our electricity, and other things regarding that, as well as its effects on God's creation. So we're going to start with all that the information I've gathered from looking into this. So I'm going to go one step at a time on this. I asked questions, and so let's see what the answers are. So I asked, do AI data centers cause polluted groundwater and other pollutions? It says, AI data centers can contribute to groundwater pollution and other environmental issues, primarily through construction activities and operational water management practices. While the core operations of data centers, such as evaporative cooling, are designed to minimize direct contamination, construction phases have been linked to sediment runoff and the introduction of chemicals like flocculants into water systems, which can cloud water and degrade quality. Additionally, the discharge of wastewater from data centers, especially when released directly into nearby lakes, streams, or groundwater aquifers without treatment, can introduce pollutants and harm ecosystems. Although data centers typically use closed-loop cooling systems and increasingly rely on recycled or treated water, the concentration of salts and contaminants left behind after evaporation can still pose water quality risks. Furthermore, the construction of these facilities often leads to habitat loss, including the destruction of wetlands and farmland, and can disrupt local water flow. Groundwater contamination from construction goes into all that. It just discusses this, which I will show in a video. Operational water pollution risks. Data centers that discharge wastewater directly into natural water bodies rather than through municipal sewage systems can introduce pollutants unchecked. Even when using recycled water, the withdrawal of water from natural sources reduces base flow in rivers, affecting downstream ecosystems. And so we have there's other things that can cause soil degradation, noise pollution, and habitat loss. So the mining of the minerals for AI hardware also causes water and soil contamination, deforestation, and biodiversity loss. Supposedly, companies like AWS and Microsoft are investing in water recycling, rainwater harvesting, and closed-loop systems to reduce environmental impact. So, even though they're doing this, however, critics argue that these efforts are insufficient to offset the scale of water use and environmental strain, particularly in water-stressed regions. Okay, so we see there's pollution there. That's an important part of this. And so let's go to this next part. AI sucks most of our energy. How will this stop blackouts? So, artificial intelligence is significantly increasing electricity demand, which that's pretty obvious, which strains power grids and raises the risk of blackouts. But it is not the sole cause of grid instability. The rapid growth of AI data centers, which require massive amounts of power for operation and cooling, is contributing to this strain. By 2030, AI data centers could add between 35 gigawatts and 108 gigawatts of load to the grid, exacerbating existing pressures from aging infrastructure, extreme weather, and the electrification of vehicles and buildings. This surge in demand has already led to higher electricity prices, with some states reporting increases of up to 36%, and has caused power quality issues such as harmonic distortions that can damage household appliances and increase fire risks. To prevent blackouts, several solutions are being explored. AI can be used to forecast peak renewable energy and balance the grid more efficiently, helping to manage supply and demand. Data center flexibility, temporarily shifting or pausing operations during peak demand periods, could allow the U.S. to accommodate 100 gigawatts of data center growth without building new power plants. Additionally, some experts suggest that data centers should be required to pay higher marginal grid prices or install synchronous condensers to help stabilize the grid during sudden load changes. Now, it says, however, AI itself does not cause EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, which are typically the result of nuclear detonations or specialized high-energy devices. The concern about grid vulnerability stems from the physical stress of fluctuating power demands and the potential for cascading failures when data centers activate backup generators during outages, which can overwhelm local infrastructure. While AI-driven systems may contribute to grid instability through their energy demands, they are not a direct source of EMP events. Preventing blackouts requires a combination of smarter grid management, investment in resilient infrastructure, and policies that ensure equitable energy distribution. So we have the water issue, we have the pollution issue, we have the groundwater issue, all the things that I've mentioned so far, and electricity. Let's go on. AI data centers consume a significant amount of water. This here is very important because water is life, and every human being needs water, and fresh water, and water that's not polluted. AI data centers consume a significant amount of water primarily for cooling the high-powered servers used in AI computation. So the key factors on water usage is an average 100. Okay, so large AI data centers use millions of gallons of water annually. An average 100 megawatt data center uses about 2 million liters. That's 528,000 gallons of water per day, equivalent to the daily needs of 6,500 households. Google's data centers averaged 550,000 gallons per day in 2023. That is a lot of wasted water, in my opinion. Meta's Arizona facility used 56 million gallons annually, comparable to 670 local households. A major portion of water consumption comes indirectly from electricity generation. Power plants, especially in water-stressed areas, use large volumes of water to generate the electricity that runs data centers. This indirect use can account for 80% or more of a data center's total water footprint. AI's rapid expansion is accelerating water use. U.S. data center water consumption tripled from 2014 to 2023, reaching 17.5 billion gallons annually. Projections suggest this could double or quadruple by 2028. Globally, AI data centers may consume 1.7 trillion gallons of water by 2027. Many data centers are located in water-stressed regions, for example, Arizona, raising concerns about competition for freshwater resources. Evaporative cooling systems, commonly used, lose most water into the atmosphere, making it unavailable for reuse. So they're supposedly doing these water-saving technologies. Microsoft is deploying water zero cooling systems using closed-loop liquid cooling, aiming to eliminate evaporative water use in new facilities by 2027. Google and others are using recycled or reclaimed water and improving water usage effectiveness, supposedly. Okay, so that's what they said they're doing on that. Now let's go to a short video that was out a few months back. Just a little clip of it I'm going to play for you so you get an idea. of what's going on with that, the information I just shared with you.
This is my cold water pressure in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah. And this is what's in all the pipes.
Just the well itself is probably 20,000, and that's not counting any of the
All the
faucets.
replacement
Yeah.
of the fixtures and
That's
faucets
just
and
the well.
toilets and the lines that come underneath the house. It's overwhelming because you really feel like you are up against this huge wall that you can't penetrate. There's nothing that you can do, and they don't care.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility. Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
Data centers, going to be a very hot item.
This entire supercomputer is built to power Grok.
We see data centers as the most exciting asset class.
Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan.
But data centers come with big costs, from light and noise pollution to the environmental impacts, to the potential rising costs of energy bills. These facilities put extraordinary demand on the power grid and require entirely new infrastructure.
They should be responsible for that, not us.
Search the internet for profits that Meta has made, Amazon, Microsoft. They can afford to pay for their own generation.
We came to Georgia to ask two questions. What's the true cost of the AI revolution, and who should be paying for it? Your house is here, and the data center's right there.
It's less than 400 yards.
Beverly and Jeff Morris bought their home an hour's drive from downtown Atlanta in 2016, but their roots in the community run much deeper.
Being in the country has always just been my peace and my therapy. When we found this place, we decided that this was it. It was perfect.
I was actually raised probably 5 miles from here. It felt like coming home.
The data center that's now the Morris' next door neighbor happens to be owned by Meta, the company you know for Facebook and Instagram, but has also been breaking into artificial intelligence. They started construction on this data center campus in 2018.
Definitely changed everything. They've destroyed the environment, taken down all the trees across the road.
Beautiful pines, beautiful forest.
The light pollution is...
You don't have to have a night light in the house. You can walk around the house at night and see everything. It's that.
Taking down all those beautiful trees, all those wonderful trees that help us to breathe because of the oxygen they put out.
Right.
This is a video of the dust from Facebook where the construction was. This is what it looks like right now out my front door. The wind blowing in all of this stuff from across the construction, across the road.
Boy, that looks healthy, doesn't it?
All from Meta.
Yeah, I was standing on my front porch. I think eventually that affected our well water. We're on a well here, and we started having issues with our well in 2018. I have to replace the hot water heater. I've replaced 2 washing machines and a dishwasher.
So you get the idea of what's going on with these poor people that, you know, went out into the country to have some peace, solace, with a few, you know, have horses and be out there and retire in a peaceful, quiet place away from the crazy, hectic life in Atlanta and things like that. They wanted to be in this area with forests and with meadows and beautiful things, you know, nature. And then this data center is built there. I mean, I think they should actually, I just thought about this, but why don't, you know, they don't even tell anybody, and they really should get permission from the neighborhoods around there. I know they probably wouldn't I'm sure the neighbors probably would say no, but you would think they would at least inform them that this is going on. So let's go on to, I'm going to jump ahead and just show you. This is what's showing for how many, at this point when this was out a few months back, they recorded as the data centers per state. So as you can see, the dark red is the ones that have the most. So 300 plus data centers. Good grief. Okay, so there's Virginia, Texas, California. Then the next ones are 100 to 299, all of these states. And then you have 10 to 99 in this area here. And then these are fewer than 10, these particular places. Okay. And Alaska. But I just wanted to show you that so you get an idea what's going on. And now we're going to go to a different video. I'm going to talk a little bit here about these AI data centers. I'm just going to play a clip like I did this last one. And let's start it here.
Giant warehouses are popping up across the US, more than 2 every week. They feed AI algorithms, store photos, and answer our questions.
Hey Google.
A data center campus like this can consume as much power and water as an entire city. And many of the biggest server farms are emerging from the desert. But there's no official record of how many of these are being built, where they are, or even who owns them.
To be honest, I've never really run into so much resistance for records than this project.
Big tech companies often go to great lengths to hide the details. So we decided to build a map.
What we designed is a system to see not only the individual location of each data center across the country, but also where they cluster.
And for some, these clusters are appearing too close to home. We went to meet people who say having data centers next door is affecting their health.
I had a hard time breathing, I couldn't sleep. I thought I was losing my mind.
Summertime is more of a during the winter it's like almost like an engine trying to start.
So how many data centers are there in the US? And is there enough power and water to satisfy a building boom that is only just getting started?
Where I am standing now is at the middle of the data center capital of the world. This is Loudoun County, Virginia, otherwise known as Data Center Alley. And it may not look like much from down here, but just take a look from up above.
These are Amazon data centers. Zoom out and you can see tech companies tend to build data centers in clusters, where there is a reliable power supply, access to enough water, as well as tax breaks and affordable land. But of course, these tend to also be places where lots of people already live, like Santa Clara County, California, or the most heavily populated part of Arizona, Maricopa County. And of course, here in Northern Virginia, the most densely populated part of the Washington, D.C. metro area, and one of the largest and fastest growing residential areas in the US.
Yeah, I was the fourth homeowner in this neighborhood, fourth to occupy a house in this neighborhood.
Donna Gallant has lived on this street in Prince William County, Northern Virginia, for the last 30 years. All very peaceful until 2021, when things started to change. These are Google data centers, and ever since they started rising from the ground, Donna has been looking for answers.
There's no transparency, and
with data center companies or with local authorities? Or
both. Yeah. So anytime you ask a question, it's, oh, we signed an NDA, we can't talk about it. Oh, we're under NDA, we can't talk about it. So there's no transparency at all.
The site isn't complete yet, but she says the noise is already taking its toll.
When I go to my room at night, the tonal noise immediately triggered my anxiety. to the point where I couldn't sleep. I ended up having to go down on my first floor and put noise canceling headphones on just so I could sleep.
But for Donna and her neighbours, this is just the start. Over the next few years, they will find themselves surrounded by a string of new data centres.
That's going to go from this road here all the way and around my neighborhood. That's where the data center is going to go. And that's going to be 75 feet tall, dead smack in the middle of a neighborhood.
Zoom out a little more and you can see this plot of land. It was originally meant for housing, but in 2023 it was rezoned to clear the way for the construction of data centres instead. Prince William County already has over 70 data centres, but if this master plan for a data centre opportunity zone is fully realised, together with Loudoun County to the north, they'll have more data centres than Russia. Donna set up a local campaign to challenge the rezoning, but the lawsuit was dismissed.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching. Do I have ill feelings towards the data center industry for that? Yes, I do. I think we all need it. It's the way the world is going. But do I think dropping it next to people's homes is the right answer? No.
Do we really need this? Do we really need to go this direction? Do we? And then, let me bring up this portion here. I asked about the humming. Seeing that video. The humming from AI data centers, does it cause noise pollution and any other problems to living beings? It says, yes, the humming from AI data centers contributes to noise pollution and poses health risks to both people and animals. The constant low-frequency hum generated by servers, cooling systems, and backup generators produces sound levels that can exceed 80 dBA, comparable to a leaf blower or heavy traffic. This persistent noise is not only a source of annoyance, but also linked to significant health concerns. For humans, chronic exposure can lead to sleep disturbance, headaches, elevated stress hormone levels, hypertension, anxiety, and even cardiovascular risks. Some individuals report that the noise causes physical discomfort, such as pressure on the diaphragms of the ears, and can trigger migraines or worsen existing conditions. Long-term exposure to low-frequency noise, which is less detectable by standard weighted decibel measurements but highly bothersome, can contribute to hearing loss, increased risk of cardiovascular disease, and mental health issues like anxiety and depression. The health impacts extend beyond humans. Noise pollution from data centers disrupts animal communication, alters natural behaviors, and forces wildlife to abandon habitats, change migration patterns, and avoid breeding sites. Even moderate background noise in the 45 to 55 dB range can cause birds to abandon nests, insects to cease mating calls, and mammals to show signs of stress. This disruption can lead to broken food chains and the degradation of local ecosystems, turning once vibrant habitats into ecological dead zones. Data center noise is particularly problematic because it is continuous, 24/7, 365 days a year, offering no respite for affected communities or wildlife. While some migration strategies exist, such as using liquid cooling, natural gas generators, sound dampening materials, and optimized server layouts, these solutions can be costly and are not always implemented. Regulatory efforts are emerging, with some local governments enacting noise restrictions and requiring noise studies before construction. However, the rapid expansion of data centers, especially for AI, continues to outpace these safeguards, leaving communities and ecosystems vulnerable to the silent but harmful effects of industrial noise pollution. I found this information very important, very critical, and crucial to us, humans and animals and habitats and all living things. And I'm a bit disturbed by all of this cutting down of forests, that is very, is very important to our health as far as oxygen and our breathing, basically, having things to, breathe oxygen. And I don't think this is really a good way to go, because I just could see this is going to be causing problems. We don't want to run out of water. That's a real concern, is water security. We really need, water is part of life. You can't live without water, and we need good water, clean, pure water that is drinkable. There's that issue. Blackouts, I think that's going to become more frequent and regular, no matter what they're saying that they're going to battle, because they're going to keep making more. So if they're already having problems now and they keep making more, but supposedly they have these preventative type of, ways to do this, I still don't see how this is going to help in the long run. I see a lot of problems with this personally. I don't think it's a good thing, and I don't feel like it has to be done. I don't feel like, well, we're going that direction, and we should, that's what we just have to do. I don't think we have to do that. But that's how it usually works with people when they make something, they want to advance and they want to keep going in that direction no matter what. And people usually don't see the detrimental side of this until after it's already been implemented and used for, decades. And then you see all the health issues, the problems, it's not good. But I'm going to now go to the spiritual side of this regarding this issue. I'm going to give you start out here. I'm going to give you the 3 temples. Let's see, what's it called again? The 3 temples. Good old Father Elpidius. Somebody's asking him about that. There's 3 temples, and he explains them to be nature, the church, and the heart. But we're going to be centering on nature, considering that it applies to what I'm discussing here with the AI issue, the data centers. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to read this to you. The person asks, Father, do we worship God only in church? He says, no. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it's all in Greek. God gave us 3 wonderful temples through which we can let our soul ascend to his throne and become one with our God. What are these temples? Would you like to tell us? The first temple is all nature, all God's creation. Everything in it speaks of God. The birds with their melodic chirping speak of God. Even the breeze speaks of God. The flowers with their colors, with their fragrance, speak of God. The sea with its waves, the fish, all the animals. Everything speaks of God. Even the stars of the sky speak of God, of his almightiness, of this sweet creator God of ours. This is the first wonderful temple. And no matter where man is located within it, in the meadow, on the plain, in the sea, on the mountain, everywhere, he can let his soul, with a lot of love to tell him, thank you, my God. It is a great thing to say thank you to our Creator. This is the first temple where all of us can pray at any moment, all the time. Okay, so you see how he sees how nature is through God's creation. I'm going to give you some more information on that I found important from the Orthodox perspective, the Orthodox Christian's perspective. I'm going to start with this. Orthodox Christianity teaches that God is present in every part of nature through his uncreated energies, which are distinct from his unknowable essence, but are the means by which he actively sustains and reveals himself in creation. This divine presence is not limited to specific locations, but permeates all of creation, as the divine energies are within everything and outside everything. The created world is seen as an integrated whole, a manifestation of God's energies, and is intended to reflect his glory. Humanity uniquely amongst creation combines both material and spiritual elements, making the human person a little world or microcosm of the entire creation. This understanding underscores the sacredness of the natural world, which is viewed as a sacrament and an offering to God, meant to be restored and sanctified through human stewardship. In this context, the human body is considered a temple of the Holy Spirit, with each person's body being a dwelling place for the divine presence. This concept extends to the idea that creation itself, including nature, can be seen as a form of temple, reflecting the divine order and inviting communion with God. The ultimate goal is to restore the harmony between humanity and the rest of creation, offering it back to God in a purified and sanctified state. I love this. But this is how Orthodox Christianity understands nature. Eastern Orthodox Church teaches that all of creation, including nature, participates in worshiping God, as Father Elpidia showed, rooted in the belief that the entire cosmos was created by a loving God and thus contains traces of the divine presence. This worldview sees the natural world not as inert matter to be exploited, but as inherently good and sacred, reflecting God's glory. The concept of theosis or deification emphasizes that the goal of human life is to participate in the divine nature and achieve union with God through communion, which extends to the entire created order. The Church Fathers describe creation as a living sacrament or mystery, where all things are held together in Christ, who is the bridge between God and creation. This understanding of creation as a communion, where every element of nature is interconnected and oriented toward God, reflects the belief that all of nature, in its very existence, bears witness to and worships its Creator. The incarnation of Christ, by which God entered into matter, sanctified the physical world and affirmed its role in divine worship. Thus, the Orthodox tradition views the natural world as inherently participating in the worship of God, not through conscious awareness, but through its existence and purpose within God's plan. All of this is just vitally important as an Orthodox, but also I think it's important people understand how we view this, because it's just really important. Lastly, the Orthodox Church teaches that nature holds intrinsic value because it was created by God and is inherently good, reflecting his divine nature and purpose. This belief is rooted in the biblical account where God declares his creation good, repeatedly in Genesis 1. The Church views the cosmos as a coherent, unified whole where all elements are interrelated and exist in harmony under God's providence. Creation is not seen as a mere resource for human exploitation, but as a sacred gift and a reflection of God's glory, meant to be revered and protected. Central to this teaching is the concept that humanity, created in the image of God, has a unique role as a steward and priest of creation. This role is not one of domination, but of care, reverence, and transformation. The human being is described as a microcosm, a small world that contains within it the elements of the entire created order, emphasizing the deep connection between humanity and nature. The Church teaches that humans are called to cultivate and preserve creation, not to exploit it, and to act as mediators who offer the world back to God in worship and thanksgiving. The liturgical life of the Church embodies this understanding, as worship involves the sanctification of material elements: water, bread, wine, incense, and icons, demonstrating that matter is not inherently evil but can be transformed into a vessel of divine grace. The blessing of natural elements such as water, fields, and first fruits signifies the Church's recognition of creation's sacredness and its redemptive potential. The Eucharist, in particular, symbolizes the offering of creation back to God, who then returns it as grace, illustrating the transformative and redemptive relationship between humanity, nature, and God. Furthermore, the Church acknowledges that environmental degradation is a consequence of human sin and rebellion against God, which has distorted the original harmony of creation. The current ecological crisis is thus seen as both a moral and spiritual issue, requiring repentance, humility, and a renewed commitment to living in right relationship with God and all of creation. The Church calls for responsible stewardship, sustainable use of resources, and a lifestyle that reflects gratitude and mindfulness toward God's creation. And that's how we understand God's creation, nature, and our relationship with Him, and the animals and plants around us, and how they are toward God. They also worship God. And I want to say that my cat is here now. I want to say that Native Americans also have shown this reverence for the earth, and so there's that similarity there between us and the Native Americans. And so there's my kitty. And so I think it's very important. And so when I read these things about these data centers and what they're doing to our water supply, our water, our soil, the burden they're putting on our electricity and capabilities, and how they think they're going to have to ramp that up. I don't think that's going to help by cutting down all these trees that are tree is it's a form of life, you know, and the fact that people always talk about how important everything is of the planet, but then we have this stuff that's happening that's not going to help. It's not going to help our health. The noise pollution and everything that I mentioned there and I read to you and we watched on the video is concerning, because people can get, you know, serious illnesses from this kind of pollution. And we're supposed to be stewards of the country, of the planet. We're supposed to be revering what's God's creation and working together with it and helping it survive and prosper, you know, for all the animals and the plants and everything. Everything works together in synergy with God, you know. The whole world worships God. All living beings, you know, as it says, the animals, the birds sing. The saints have had great interactions with animals that see God in them. You know, animals can detect God easily. It's just in them. It's part of their how they were built, how they were created. And so, what do you think on this issue? Do you think it's something we have to have? I mean, what do you think is going to happen when Elder Joseph talked about the in World War III, and one of his, I'll just bring that up for just a minute, where he talks about let's see, where was that? Let's see if I can find it. have to find it. It's somewhere in here. I keep forgetting which phase it's in. But, okay, here it is. So it was in phase 3. Then there will be the first attempt to use nuclear weapons by the U.S. and Israel, but the Russians will neutralize them, causing a global blackout of energy and communications, the EMP. Now, remember, according to that, that's only done through, where was that? That's only done through nuclear detonations. So does that mean that before we and Israel can use nuclear weapons, that Russia will use them? Or will they be using these specialized high energy devices, which I don't think I still have that up, but well, I do actually. So those things are engineered systems designed to manage, transfer, convert large amounts of electrical energy efficiently and reliably. So they have all these examples that include high-powered electronics, such as metal oxide, semiconductor field effect transistors, insulated gate bipolar transistors, etc. Power. So there's a whole bunch of things that they use here for those. In energy harvesting, specialized devices manage high voltage outputs from sources like solar panels, thermoelectric generators, and piezoelectric devices. So they also are used in scientific industrial applications such as klystrons, which amplify high frequency radio waves for radar, satellite communication, and particle accelerators. Ocean wave energy converters such as attenuators like the Pelamis and Ceto systems harness mechanical motion from waves to generate electricity, etc. So there's all kinds of different high energy things they're talking about here. So we don't know exactly what that means, how Russia's going to do that if this actually happens, because this is the World War III prophecies. And as you know, these things can change through our prayers of repentance, which we should be doing. And the last thing we should be doing is making things worse by causing health issues and problems with humans, and also the issues with the animals. You know, birds leaving their nests and the food chain disrupted. I mean, this stuff is serious. You know, you almost think, was that why we end up with all these electricity stuff? I mean, is this what's going to cause a lot of deaths in the sea? You know, there's that in Revelation, and you know, all these things. But I just don't see how it can work. I don't see how these AI data centers, if they make so many, I just don't see how it wouldn't just crash. But please share with me your thoughts on this. And like I said, this is how we see creation and God and our relationship with Him, and animals and plants. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel. I hope that you all are having a blessed day, evening, morning. And please share your thoughts on this issue, and what your thoughts are on how we are to be stewards of this earth that God has placed us on. Okay, until next time.